King, Queen, Jack. Yeah. So King, Queen, Jack are the months. And then that goes into 12. So yes, so this week is the Nine of Clubs week, and the Nine of Clubs week started from the third.
Hey, can I share my Eight of Clubs story
Yeah.
before we jump to the Nine of Clubs?
No, you can go ahead.
So on an Eight of Clubs day, on an Eight of Clubs week, I received a text from someone who I knew 20 years ago, and I worked with them. And he had been holding a hurt based on something he believed I said to someone. And because of my influence and my tone, he felt I affected this person's decision. And because of what I said, he didn't have possibly the life he was supposed to have because of the way I used my voice and my words. And I'll just say he was not nearly as clear and direct. He was far more flowery and rageful in his share, but pretty well spoken, by no means, without intelligence. And at first it struck me and I was like, no, I didn't do that. And then I was like, I probably did do that. What did I say? And I was just remembering back. And it was more like those days where you're like, oh, I heard this. I think it was like this, where you just would just say stuff, but not realize the ripples of what you say. And now as I, am in this maturing part of my life, and I think about how reckless I could be with my voice and what I would say, not even knowing the power of my tone and my Eight of Clubs Saturn and my King of Diamonds, nothing. I had no idea, right? But I was doing damage. And the Eight of Clubs and the universe made sure I was really reminded how deeply the words sometimes can go into people that you say.
Wow.
I was like, wow, that was a real and it took a little bit of a process. And there was do I just ignore it? Do I say something? And I just apologized for being reckless and said, thanks for the message, because I think it's probably going to help me in the rest of my life, because big emotions and enthusiasm sometimes just get you spinning. And next thing you know, you said stuff that might have left people grinning, but wasn't necessarily for the good of all in the kindest way you could have said what you needed to say. So I felt grateful for the pull up, but that it happened on an 80 Clubs week, on an 80 Clubs day, was like, are you kidding me? It's real? Like, that's why I tell the story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the cards are, I mean, that is something, there's weight to that, because that's your Saturn card, right? As the King of Diamonds. Yeah. Mm-hmm. What was your card that day? Did you look?
Let me see. My card, I'm just going to see what day it was, and then I'll know.
And also, I said the third to the ninth, but that's correction. That's the 10 of clubs. So it's today Sunday, 27th through the second. It's the 9 of clubs. Yeah.
May 25th it was. So
That's a 7 of Clubs day.
okay, so then that's when I opened it. So it was
Yeah. The day before is the 8 of Clubs day. So if you sent it, yeah.
And then that's when I opened it. Was it? Yeah. So there you go. There was my sub, but it went away. So whatever my card was on May 25th, I don't see it still in my charts here. I don't have the bigger charts that you guys have to see those things. I only have the daily kind of thing. But
if you look for that, I do post that. I believe it's on my profile. It's pinned. How you can calculate your weekly by hand as well. So it just, once you know the week, it's 27, 28. You can just start from there. Go week by week. So just FYI for anyone needing that information. But you can also
say they're trying to help us grow, and that I took it as a good reminder. And it just means go slow. Again, it means go slow. Everything in my life keeps saying go slow. It's amazing.
well, it is another close week. So also for me, and also kind of in alignment with that as well. I was looking at the 9 of clubs and what does it mean. We always say it's like the word or the card for no, you know. Also, I look at it as a card for taking responsibility.
Oh,
Also for your actions and what you do. And
Mhm.
also with the Eight of Clubs, I was saying that Mars, Neptune can be traveling, but also not losing your cool, keeping your peace, keeping your emotions intact, keeping your head. I think ties into the Eight of Clubs. And I believe with eights, you get a lot of times where people can look at it as like control and power, so it can be associated with greed and hunger, gluttony,
You talk
maybe.
about the nine of clubs can be associated with that?
The nine of clubs.
Yeah, is that what you said? Could be with greed and hunger?
No,
Is
I
that
was
what you're
saying I
saying?
was saying eights, just eights
Oh,
overall.
okay.
People
That
go
makes more
looking
sense.
and
Yeah.
looking at the eight of clubs, but also the nine of clubs as well. If you want to look at it as a card, because it has a Queen of Hearts, it sits in.
Mm-hmm.
Both of these cards, I believe, deals with your emotions, and how to deal with the emotions and keeping your cool under pressure. I've seen Eight of Clubs, being tempted and keeping their cool, which I think is very powerful when looking at the card because you look at it, it says Mars Neptune, so it's just a glance, you may think otherwise. As far as they may handle their emotions or just as a person, but and just overall lesson as a card. I believe they empower that. So I think it's those things are highlighted or can be highlighted, within the week or within yourself, as well. So that was kind of some points that I was going to speak to also. So for you, responsibility as well. The nine of clubs. I always say the nine of clubs. I was just thinking about it as well. It's kind of like God's plan, and also it's about letting go. Also, and what is the apology for? When people say you're supposed to apologize, what is the apology for? It's like I wrote it down earlier. It's at the beginning of the end, right? So when someone apologizes, when you let something go, I believe you can move on. You've been satisfied, or you've um, I wouldn't say became complacent, but you've reached a point where you've gained understanding. Now it's about understanding, wisdom and gaining something. So you've gained understanding of the situation of what's taking place, and you've gained wisdom. There was something I was thinking of earlier. I forgot what it was, but it was about wisdom. But anyways, it's about gaining understanding. Whenever you come to the nine of clubs, because nine of clubs is the teacher. That's what they do. They dispense knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
And without that wisdom, without the understanding, and if you're always holding on to things, holding on to your emotions, I don't think you playing the Queen of Hearts very well. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
from
No,
my
I
point.
felt to me like that obviously it was some kind of cathartic thing for this person to say it. And for me, the apology was around like awareness and being like, oh, wow, I got to recognize that that's what the universe is trying to tell me. And by no means do I think I consciously did any of those things, but I definitely understand why he might think I did and that he needed to know that if I did do that, I'm sorry because that's not cool.
Does it
Right.
help for someone that I was just thinking about this earlier? Does it help for someone to tell you why they did something? Does that help you? Is that a good thing? Is that gaining understanding, or you would that be validating
Well, I
someone's
mean,
experience?
I can't change what happened. So, I mean, I don't know. It could obviously be for my own guilt, maybe. But the thing was more the way I sat with it for a few days and I was like, what does this need to feel clean? Right. Because he made a comment about something that I don't even want to say because I've thought about it so many times since he said it. And I always laugh about how people can have that power over each other. Like somebody makes a comment about something and then you keep thinking about it, but I never thought about it before and it's maybe doesn't even matter. So like, so I think for me, my coming back was to be like, I'm responsible for what I did if there is a way I did something. And I want you to know that I've grown up a lot and I've been humbled about my reckless tone and voice a lot of times. So thanks for another reminder. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Like I didn't like kiss butt. I didn't try to be friends. I'm not like jumping back. I haven't talked to the guy since I worked with him 20 something years ago. Like, I'm not changing anything, But I guess for my own heart, I guess I kind of felt like, let me do what I feel would help give me peace. But meanwhile, he's got this little thing in my head that I keep hearing, and I'm like, oh my goodness, that's where the real peace, Rob, is. Do you know what I mean? So you have to be able to say, I did my best, and I got to keep going. But I don't know, Rashad. Does that answer your question? Because I don't know if it helps. I guess it could have been for me that I said it. I don't know.
No, I think it's for both. It's for everyone. And taking responsibility. I think I think is a huge response portion of the nine of clubs of actions. You gotta see where that. As a lesson, I'm just saying, just overall lesson. Because that's what we look to the cards for, right? And understanding and how does this all relate, right? But it relates to the nine of clubs, and I'll put the birthdays up here as well. And just to reiterate myself, it is a nine of clubs week, so that's why this conversation kind of comes up, And one of the things that I was looking at for the week, just for myself as well, you know, even for the nine of clubs itself, it has it has mental peace in there, um, and Uranus, you know. So, what does the nine four of clubs with the Uranus? Let me get my little handy dandy book of time out.
I think
Um,
the four of clubs in Uranus brings their brilliance when they can actually ground their thoughts and organize their thoughts, because remember, it's a universal card, so their brain is just mass. And that four of clubs in Uranus brings forth, logical thinking, step by step by step. And when they can really ground, but see that because it's Uranus, though, there's sometimes that, they have these breakthroughs or these awakenings. I think that's a big part of them really being able to kind of like open the top and go even bigger and further. But at the same time, because sometimes with that nine of clubs energy, they can get lost in the sauce, and hence why they tend to be late to everything because they have no concept of time. Because I think of that four of clubs in Uranus, that kind of shakes them up, and next thing you know, they're supposed to be somewhere, but they've kind of been floating in their head, and they're like, oh crap, be somewhere and I'm late, So the four of clubs in Uranus is a big part of their, I feel like that professor energy, like it's where a lot of their higher knowledge comes from.
mhm. But
Mhm.
also, to get to that genius, to get to that point, to get that peace, the biggest thing about the four of clubs is letting other people disrupt your mind, you know, letting
Mm-hmm.
other people disrupt your peace, where you can't get to those states. You got to look at where the nine of clubs sits. It sits with the queen of clubs. Not saying that the biggest enemy to the nine of clubs is their emotions, but I mean, it is challenged by the Queen of Hearts, so it may be, you know. So the biggest thing that disrupt that, and it's where you can get to that point, would be your emotions. How do you stay stabilized? How do you have a peace of mind? When you have all these issues or certain things that may not go your way, to be nitpicky. Not being able to let things go, to be sit into your emotions and caring about how you feel, not be able to make a decision, being um, stalled out. You have a six of diamonds that support you. That's kind of easy just to sit there. No, I'm just playing. But yes, you know, but to be stationary, so there could be confusion on where to do, what to do, how to move. That comes from that particular card and that particular location, with the nine of clubs. But yeah, you're right. They're brilliant. Even looking at the Venus, I think of aesthetics. Even looking at just the Venus card. So the brilliance comes from observation, what's around them, recognizing other people, recognizing people's emotions. Being able to relate to people, being able to recognize and make connections, with things, places. But when you have a disruption, when something is, Uranus is a brilliant place, but it can be also be where trauma sits as well. You know, so when you traumatize, or the trauma could come from maybe from the home, You know, um, um, a lot of times the Nine of Clubs for that particular card can have parental issues or issues within the home as well. So it could be issues maybe with the mother or your emotions or with women. You know, your issues with women can be highlighted with that.
I
Mhm.
mean, a lot of them, I think there's something right off the rip when they're born. I think they're maybe the mom may have experienced some kind of trauma in birth, um, or even I've just seen it a few times, even just actually literally just recently, the last Nine of Clubs day. Um, a baby was born and he was taken from his mom right away. So yeah, and he was born on the 25th of April. So it's just fascinating to see the characteristics. Um, they have the Nine of Spades and Mercury, so they typically tend to have something in their childhood where they do experience some kind of loss, some kind of disappointment, some kind of ending, and it does kind of. I feel like it's a energy that it's because essentially they're kind of like a double nine, right? They come in a nine, and their first card off the rip is the nine too. So they have this like kind of almost teaches them to not really essentially when you think about it, their childhood probably is where their detachment essentially, comes from because they have that, not being attached, having to let go. So, and
Mhm.
hence why they have a Queen of Hearts as their challenging karma card. There's some emotional disconnection that happens in their childhood that they
Mhm.
have to grow and work towards to
Mhm.
heal and fix as they grow because that Queen of Hearts is there. Holy shit. Like my whole brain just went poof.
Mhm.
That is
Mhm.
part of that Queen of Hearts energy that they have to work towards to have more emotional, balance and that, and it used a lot of times can stem from the mother, right? The
Makes
dis
sense.
the disconnect, yeah. So they're maybe constantly always even looking for that mother nurturing energy because they didn't get it in their childhood, and so hence why the Queen of Hearts is their challenging karma card
Mhm.
that they have to then learn how to nurture and mother themselves.
And some of them don't be, and this, I don't know, this is the chicken or the egg kind of conversation, but I've wondered sometimes if some of the people don't kind of come pushing everybody away, right? Because a couple of the ones I know, Nine of Clubs, they also had a part in being like, I'm not going to connect. Whether it was what happened when they were younger, like being born in a car, being adopted, like something traumatic, but it wasn't necessarily always what people around them did. Like I know one of them, his mother like said, "You've been like this your whole life. Like you just don't really connect like the rest of the kids. I don't know what's going on." You know what I mean? I think sometimes those things are real parts of people.
But where did they learn that from? Though I think everybody comes with the innate wanting to have that, does that love. If there was a disconnect from the mom, maybe it, depending on how
Right,
old this person was, you
right.
don't know if the mother didn't experience some kind of postpartum depression or
Yeah,
was
yeah.
even not getting like that skin to skin. Like there's research that shows if the babies are
Mhm,
craving that mother, they crawl to the breast from when you put a baby
mhm.
out the bottom of your belly, they're gonna crawl right up
Right,
and latch
right.
on. That's natural instinct to connect, to nurture.
Mhm,
If you are
mhm.
taken from that, or if you're born a C-section, even, and not to knock anything like that, we can't
Right.
help, how you come in here. So they even, there's research that shows, or if the baby was left to cry. I mean, back when we were younger, shit. Parents, everybody was raised differently. So I think there is this, you know, disconnect. I mean, I don't think just the Nine of Clubs has experienced that. I mean, I think a lot of us probably have in some way, shape, or form. I think theirs is more, there's something, you know, because
Or
that
maybe
nine
the
is,
way they think about it, maybe they're more dramatic about the endings. Maybe they're more protected, right? Because
yeah,
a heart card may not respond the same way to that. They might just like let it roll through them.
right.
Not the Queen of Hearts, but other ones possibly.
Well, and I think they're always, they get very much in their, they have that big
Yeah,
head space too,
yeah.
that they kind of,
Always
I don't say
arguing with
lack.
something. Always
It's
something's wrong. They're always arguing with something.
yeah.
Sorry, no offense, but that's real.
Rashad, did you do something to the screen?
Yeah, it's just you, Rashad.
It's just you, Rashad.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
I turned off my picture. I was like, I guess he just wants to like do a little like.
He's just sitting there staring.
I was like,
All right, I do not.
maybe
Yeah,
he
I'm
was doing
sorry.
like a meditation.
I do not. Yeah, I'm sorry. I was listening, but no, you're fine. I'm sorry. But also, why they create such strong attachments off the book and the other things that says that they need strong leaders, strong examples. They gotta be pushed to the forefront. Not to say they gotta be glazed in comments, but they need a good person to uplift them a lot of time as well. Kind of like you said, creating strong attachments. There are certain things and certain things that you see these things from. Or maybe you care about what people may say. Could be an issue that someone could have.
Mm-hmm.
And concepts and the way you can see these particular things. But also they have a two of hearts and
Venus.
Venus.
Mm-hmm.
And they have a 2 in Venus and a 2 in Neptune. So relationships are very they have this deep need to connect. And someone made a comment: the 2 9 of clubs people I know are helicopter moms and dads, overprotective and hovering. I think that because they may not have experienced that, and so they want to remember it's a card of sometimes overdoing things. I know a 9 of clubs. I knew a 9 of clubs, and she was the same, in that way. And so it is interesting how when you see them as parents, and maybe they, want a deeper, with their kid, and they have that King of Hearts in Mars, so they're very much led to protect and to be very, ruling over, but they're very passionate about their kids with that King of Hearts and Mars. They're very, very passionate about their children.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very protective energy.
Speaking of passion, every time I think of the Eight of Clubs, I think of the passion of the Christ. Also remember that these things are also things that the Eight of Clubs look at spiritually is through the Nine of Clubs. So it all kind of relates. The great saying was they all truths are just microcosms of each other. So if you look for a lesson in everything, you may just find one. So even here is a lesson for the Eight of Clubs, because spiritually it has a 9 of Clubs and Mercury, which is Jupiter Mercury, you know. So expansion of the mind, the mental, as Gina was saying, the brilliance that can come from that particular card. Just being around groups, organizations, learning from different people, because like she said, that once they have blossomed and bloom, they can be great protectors, of other people deep into their emotions and know how to emotionally connect and dispense information and knowledge, thinking one step ahead of being a protector, a father figure. Those are all the Queen of Hearts and the King of Hearts, that 600. And he has the King of Hearts and Mars for the Nine of Clubs.
Yeah, that King of Hearts and the Nine of Clubs and the whole family relationship stuff, very, very, very family oriented. A lot of loyalty, a lot of like high regard for the way it should be done and what shouldn't have happened. You know what I mean? Like I'd say borderline righteous. But not bad, but strong about what they think. You know? So, and I mean, I like a strong mind. I don't have an issue with it, but I think I've been called sometimes to be that. Give me an example, and they like come after me really hard if I'm not like a perfect example. And I never said I had to be perfect, but they said I had to be perfect, and I'd be like, "Are you sure I gotta be perfect? I think I could just be the way I am and decide if I'm okay." But they were looking, like you said, for someone to kind of like do it the right way. So they definitely pulled me up because I was thinking about how strongly they were looking at me.
I was say the queens and the kings are have a pass as far as being judges. I just made that up, but they truly do get a pass. Their standards and being held accountable. So I said the nine of clubs is accountability. Accountability. Being held accountable. I think that probably be the hardest on themselves. I would say living in their minds and living their mental. They have a jack of spades and Pluto. That's like a very powerful place for a jack of spades. There's a lot of options between doing what's right and what's wrong.
Well,
but
I think they're very, you'll find a lot of them. Well, at least the ones that I've been able to kind of dig in with the astrology aspects, they have a lot of like Scorpio moon in the
Yeah, a
12th.
lot of
Like
Scorpio. Oh
it's a
yeah.
lot of, and the Jack of Spades and Pluto is very Scorpionian energy too. And that's just from the like the ones that have been in certain classes and workshops, and that's how my brain likes to connect it all the time. So you see that, I'm like, hey, and I know her, and wow. So they have they're Scorpio risings, Scorpio North Node, South Node, Scorpio Moon. They have very, heavy Scorpio energy, and that Jack of
Oh,
Spades
that's
and,
so
and Pluto
true.
is very much that.
I
And they
have
also
definitely
have a
seen
lot
that.
of appeal to them. There's a draw to them. The
Mm-hmm.
women are
Mm-hmm.
aesthetically and
Mm-hmm.
very like just they draw. It's the card. You take the word sex, it equals the nine of clubs. So there's a very strong draw to that
Mm-hmm.
energy. You can almost pick a nine of clubs woman, but she's usually curvy. She's beautiful. She just and everybody's beauty is different, but you can almost like there's a way that they carry themselves too. Like there's this, and I think
Mm-hmm.
that King of Hearts and Mars is I call it that Rico Suave. They got it. They freaking got it, and you
Mm-hmm.
can see it. It's beautiful, especially
Mm-hmm.
when they stand in that. Like when they own it, it's a beautiful trait.
I agree 100%. Those are all really true. I agree
hmm
so much.
hmm
Mm-hmm.
and would you say that because of the jack of spades sits Mars Uranus, or why would you say it has like that?
I mean, it's the King of Hearts. It's the Jack of Spades. It's that. I mean, there's so many
Are you talking
connections.
about the nine of clubs overall? I thought you were talking about the jack of spades. But okay, yes, I see what you're saying. Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, definitely the queen, like you said, the queen of hearts just sitting with the queen of hearts. Talking about emotions and sex appeal. You know, um, this is content rated for adults. What's up? But just the whole concept of women is the queen of hearts, and that can be the challenge or where they feel that they came to understand this emotion. They have to connect to women in all ways, in all feminine concepts. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then also with the King of Hearts, it's the same way. You can find a lot of nine of spades, that has a lot of sex appeal, or maybe speaking about those particular um, the concept of masculinity, empowerment,
Mm-hmm.
also being helpful to other people and having the ability to be in service or serving other people in all ways. So,
They do, at least what I saw in my own experience when I spent a lot of time, and I'm talking a lot of time with the Nine of Clubs and her family, that she couldn't tell them no. I mean, they'd run her
Yeah.
like a rag doll. And there was her. I mean, she loves her family was a beautiful unit. Um, but that was one thing I noticed. Like, yo, just tell them you're doing something else. Like we're doing something. Like no. So, but I mean, drop it and she's gone, and drop it and she's gone. You're like, all right. So there was that. And then when I started learning the cards, I was like, God dang, that's so true. Like that was her, like the not being able to say no. And I think there's this guilt or shame that might be connected to that, or in her, and that's just what I saw for her. But it was very interesting to see. But again, big hearts, would do anything for you. You know what I mean? Like I did, they're
Totally.
very
Totally.
generous, extremely
Very
generous,
generous.
very generous.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and then all those things are true. I like I said, I have like 6 or 7 of them that I know pretty good.
You're their
And
Jupiter card, so it makes sense that
yeah,
you
I know
start
a
to
lot
see
of,
the cards that you track.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. I'd say all that's true. Yeah, I do. Yeah, all
And it's
that's
interesting. I've noticed too, like they have king parents. One I know has a king
Mhm.
parent. The other one I know has a
Or
king parent.
royalty
Hmm.
cards for sure.
Hmm.
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 I agree.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So they're learning, and you'll see too that nines and kings travel together in the spreads because there is this sense of like when you have to let go of something, when something is ending and completing. Like think about when you like I with my daughter graduating high school, right? That is the last 4 years. Y'all have come together. You're friends. You've experienced some of the best
Mhm.
times of your life together, but that is ending. It is coming to its completion. It's coming to its fulfillment. And then, so there is a level of maturity that comes with that, right? When you are letting something go, when you're moving on to something or moving on from something to go do something even bigger and better for you, there's maturity, there's growth with that. There's a shedding of a skin that comes with that nine. And that's why I've seen the nines and the kings. Like someone will be sitting in a nine in their birth card spread, and they'll be sitting in a king in their planetary ruling card spread. Happens all the time. Someone will have the nine in as the long range card. It'll be the king will be the long range card in the planetary ruling spread. So they travel together, right? And
Mhm.
there's that sense of when you're having to let something go, when something is completing, when something is fulfilling, you're growing, and which requires that maturity, that mastery, that there's confidence that comes with that energy too. So they tend to travel together.
Mhm.
Yeah, also you gotta look
Yeah,
at the Nami clubs transforms into the 10 of
Ten of Hearts.
Hearts.
Yeah.
You
Ah,
know,
sorry.
so that graduation, fulfillment,
Mm-hmm.
of the emotions,
Mm-hmm.
can clearly be seen. Oh, can clearly be seen in the 9 of Hearts, the 10 of Hearts as well. Yeah. So
Yeah, because it
yeah,
opens you up. I feel like they when
and
they can kind of like let go of the limiting thoughts and beliefs that can get stuck in that big brain that they have, there's an opening of an expansion that comes with that 10 energy. And again, there's some with family, they're big on family, they're big on being, so they like to, one thing I noticed too is always having people in the house, always being around groups of people. They like the party, they like that social energy. And so that 10 of Hearts, and it is it's letting something go to have more of something even better, um, with that 10 of Hearts too.
Mhm.
Really
So,
opening their heart. I think they get here. This is their superpower, but also their demise at the same time. If they can't let go of the thoughts, if they can't let go, if they can't graduate their mind, they can miss out. Not miss out, but just not really have the really big increase, or that that big energy that 10 can. They can get. They can minimalize that in their own mind, and limit themselves, because really they're a really big energy, um, that can have so much. They're very successful energy. I mean, they have a king of diamonds in Jupiter. They
yeah.
have that ability. Hmm.
Go ahead. You said which one has the King of Diamonds in Jupiter?
The nine of clubs.
Right. Yeah.
So they have a huge ability of being very successful. What's his name is the nine of clubs. The Tony Robbins guy, right? I think he's the nine of clubs.
Yeah.
Look at how, I mean, he talks, and he's big, and he's stage
Mhm.
presence. You know what I mean? And he's bringing this and he talks about the mindset, growth mindset. I mean, it's what it is.
mhm.
You can't
Mhm.
get stuck in the limiting thoughts and beliefs. It's really alchemizing your mind, letting go of the thoughts that just don't serve you anymore. But it's sometimes the nines, they can get, that's that getting, you either going to see the light at the end of the tunnel, or you're going to stay in the tunnel.
Yep. And I mean, definitely really profound sometimes. They really say some
Mm-hmm.
really smart stuff. Like as their Jupiter card, have been very grateful for the clarity that they have sometimes and the way they see things in that big mind. I've grown smarter.
Oh, yeah.
for sure. Yeah, and they're strong enough that they'll come right back at me and challenge me, which I had to learn to be better at too. Because they're strong like that, and I think it's
Mhm.
great. I'm always appreciative when somebody's got that, unless I'm in a mood. But that doesn't anymore. I'm past my period. But
And
It's
speaking of, also, I think was pretty interesting for the Nine of Clubs, the Queen of Hearts, just in the conversation is cycles of the moons, and what you were speaking about is the 13. Even looking at the cards, it's 1 through 13. It's the patterns. So it follows, just the patterns of the moons and the cycles. If you break it down, I even try to break it down to the placements of the moon and the shastras and where it's at and how does it relate as well. Whenever you look at particular placements and timing of things. So if for people who don't know, it's 13 cards. You know, so with those 13 cards, it's four suits, and that makes the 52. So 52 is almost in everything. I think it was pretty dope. On the first page, someone did. Jay Z wrote a verse about 52. Everything. So these particular, and he was talking about the cards as well. I don't know how much he knows about cardology of the cards. But it is following the patterns. You follow your own patterns and your emotions and the development of things. Everything takes time. It takes 9 months for you to be born. So the power of the nine. Is it not? I'm not a woman. I'm sorry. It's not. No disrespect, fam. but it's that everything is based upon numbers. That's the one thing that scientists, why a lot of them aren't atheists, but they believe that God is within patterns and numbers. A lot
one
of
of
them.
my good friends, she's a two of spades, and we were chatting the other day, and we joked and said, because since she was a mentor of mine in college in the '90s, like I've known this woman for such a long time. And I said, "Do you believe it that we get to watch spirituality and science like learn to be lovers? Like it's so exciting. Like it's because that's what's happening. Spirituality and science are getting down. You know what I mean? Like that's what's making it so much more alive because that split where it's like, no, it can't be this way. It must be this way. Whoa, I think it's this way. Oh, they're crazy. They're crazy. It's like, well, no, let's put them together and see what peanut butter and jelly tastes like. Like you're silly.
No, that's a fact. A lot of spiritual people are uh, scientists to the core. A lot of herbalists and a lot of them should go into medicine and certain things, just to make sure that we're all sane. Because a lot of times you can sound or feel schizophrenic, but think the masculine. A lot of times we don't get into it until it's proven, until you can see it. The King of Spades or the Seven of Clubs. Like I have to see it. Like I have to see that it works. I have to break this down to the numerical value. That's why I was like, I have to know how do I calculate my week, like, so it has to be proven for us. It's not much as a feeling, or emotions upon things. And I think that's the connection that Gina was speaking about. I don't have a womb. I'm not connected to the moon. I'm not connected to the cycles as a woman. So some certain things may be hard for me to recognize. So even for me, it's balancing the masculine and the feminine, which is the queen and the king. That is how the whole set is. Even I don't care if you're a gay man or if you don't relate to a woman. A lot of gay men are close to women because they know that they want that feminine energy. They understand that they aren't a woman. I don't care what gay man you can act like it, but we all know like you're not a woman. As far as all these gender wars and who I am. It's a difference. You have different connections to this earth, and you have to respect that. Even
And
within the
then
cards.
soften a little bit, right? Because nobody's all the way like the whole thing is I agree that men have a different template from which they might be informed by, but they also have this like we all as boys and girls, like we've said before, this hold on like I got to figure it out myself or let me see or I'm not sure or this like resistance. So I've been praying for just the softening to happen, right? Because coming into spirit and coming into that oneness and seeing both parts, like it's gonna open your heart, and the only way to actually help it circulate is to soften and begin to co-create new ideas inside of yourself to start, because otherwise, all your energy goes into your heart army being like, well, I don't know about that, oh, I'll see about that, oh, I gotta think about that, oh. And it's like, what are we doing? Like, why are we holding back from saying, what else is there? What else is there? That's what it feels like. But I'm not sure why, for such a long time, our masculine energies have resisted these concepts of just cycles and blood. And like, I mean, we had a joke here today talking about, like, why don't you just make a date night every month around ovulation time, just so that the connection happens and you don't have fights for the next week? Like, I mean, like,
pregnant every gosh
pay
damn 9
attention
months.
to the fact that, like, well, you don't have to have a baby, but like, but I mean, like, you want connection at that time. You want to feel some kind of
It's the
intimacy.
first place my mind went
I
to.
know, it's always the place. So I mean, like, let that be what
Let me
you
stop.
create every month, is a place that goes, and it doesn't have to be for sex. It can be with some girlfriends. It could be like whatever way you want, but like, even that doesn't have to be sex. Poor Gina, she's like a 5th grader when we bring up anything below the belt. I don't even know. But yeah,
It's the first place my mind went to.
I know. But all I'm saying is there's a cycle, and then like those couple of days where you have all sorts of magic power, like do something with those powerful days. Do you know what I mean? Like, figure out who you are in that monthly cycle, teach your partner and say, if you want to dance with me, this is the dance that's going to get the romance we both want. If you just want to like have fights with me every month and then just wonder if there's something wrong with you, I suppose that's an option, but I don't think it's going to help. Sorry, Gina, you just can't stop picturing it. I know. So you just be like a whole bunch of 9 months later, another baby, 9 months later.
I mean,
The Queen of Hearts is a concept of the Queen of Hearts. I did post that the other day. But when you do have those urges sexually or in question of pregnancy, I did read one of the cards at a particular age of 33, 34. You have a Queen of Hearts in your lineup. So there's a chance and possibilities of pregnancy as well. But
if you do what Madeline's telling you to do, most definitely.
I didn't say you had to go out and have sex when you're ovulating. I'm saying on the times of the month that you like to connect. Don't cause problems. I remember as a young woman being like, Miles, like, you're so mean to me. And I said, I know. That's because I want you to be nice to me. I'm not sure where I got this idea, but sometimes I'm like really mean because I'm trying to ask for something nice and I don't know how. He's like, that's not going to work. Like, you can't be mean and think I'm going to be nice to you. But I said, I don't know. How come like boy birds dance around for girl birds and they act all broody and moody and the boy bird just keeps dancing around for them, Like, who knows where my brain got these ideas, but I had to learn to communicate what I needed without being mean. And I think when we let it go too far and we feel all alone in those cycles and not necessarily understanding or connecting to them, that might be part of what makes us bump and fight. I don't know. It's just a thought.
Well, you're not getting any when you're obvious. Let me stop. Let me just stop.
But I don't know what I forgot what I didn't hear what you just said. But something made me think about selfish. Was you saying you going back to something you were saying as far as like men? I think men. What I was thinking of was men who's like naturally selfish. We're entitled to power. The concept of masculinity is gaining. Competitiveness. So. But yeah, I forgot what you said towards that. But we do have to go.
Yeah, we can. I don't know. I was just talking about how working together with the energies and not necessarily resisting that we may not be holding all the information by ourselves, right? Because for my character, not wanting to look stupid or being wrong or thinking I wanted to figure out myself, my ego being attached to being the one to know the answer, whatever the heck, those things might have limited me from really understanding some of the more cyclical things because I wanted to do it in a more linear way, because sometimes my mathy mind likes linear. But in truth, there's a lot more involved to what's actually happening. So I don't know. I don't know if competition and the linear thinking are connected. I don't even know if the root is really competition or just having fun. My sons would tell me, "We don't really care, Mom. We're just having fun." So maybe I'm over it a little bit. I don't know.
The Queen, you talking about the Queen of Hearts?
Yeah, exactly. They don't care. They're just having fun. They're just messing with each other. I don't know if it's true.
But that also connects to the Queen of Hearts as well. But enjoyment comes from that particular card, passion. So I can see that. They just want to laugh. They want to have a good time.
Exactly.
So,
Having
but
fun
I
is the
do.
most important thing.
But I do have to run. But was there anything else? Any questions or anything that you wanted to go over? I know a lot. We spoke about the nine of clubs a lot. I would think. I think relay back to the eight of clubs a little bit. But was there anything else you all wanted to say or speak on? No.
No, that was good. Nine of clubs.
Mhm.
It's my Mercury card, and it's funny. Like, I found myself definitely talking more this week, communicating more. I actually got on Clubhouse. Stephanie does a room, and I don't know what I was like. I haven't been on Clubhouse in a while. Went on there, got on there, started talking. I was like, it's a nine of clubs week, so it makes sense for me. Um, but yeah, I sit behind this energy. I support this energy. So I've always feel like and now that I've gone, have seen different aspects of that energy, I do, it to me, it definitely, I think it's a fun energy. I remember when the person that I used to be really close to was a 9 o'clock. We had some of the best times. I mean, the shit that we did.
Mhm.
And the risk taking and the just I loved, there is a sense of like a free spirit about that card. Like they'll do it. Like they'll do it. You know what I mean? Like they're the kind of energy that just does it and asks for forgiveness later. So it's a lot. I've always enjoyed this energy. It's a lot of fun. So yeah, and now we're getting ready to go into the Ten of Clubs week. Um, a lot of mental energy, right? It's definitely been a very strong focus on your thoughts. And now with Jupiter into Gemini, it's like it's gonna, I think you'll really feel that. I know Jupiter and Pluto are trining currently, and well, that'll last for a couple more days too, which kind of makes sense. It's because it just got probably exact not too long ago, and so as we get ready to go into a Ten of Clubs week, you have that big, energy, right? So it'll be interesting, expanding your mind and try not to overthink, watch the insomnia, find outlets, move your body. Because I'll quote a friend of mine who is a 10 of clubs. She says it's like a million bunny rabbits jumping around in her head with all these ideas. So,
I
you
can
know,
see.
what do you feed the rabbits, right?
All right.
But yeah, the Ten of Clubs for me is my Pluto. So excellent position to be for that particular card. I feel it all the time. They're always around. I was just got a message, and they were speaking about the Ten of Clubs. So I don't know if I'm able to calm them down as mentally, but I think we both can be on the same level as far as thinking deeply, maybe overly thinking. You know, I have to probably make sure I don't fall into a lot of clubs. But taking action, being impulsive, quick decisions, So whenever you're vibrating high with through a diamond, as far as your financial decisions, making plans, you feel more comfortable in life. You have the four clubs as far as transformation, So become more content, gain a peace of mind as well. So not caring or wondering the way you can be. I guess you see quick thinking and impulsive is not caring what other people may think. When you're your own best coach, your own best cheerleader, you're not dependent upon other people. So also for the tennis clubs, so I think they have a lot of confidence that can be fixed as well. I think with some certain things when they want certain things and have certain things, for a good reason, because they know what they want, but maybe being a little flexible, speaking and looking up and entertaining and being open to people, seeing people from different backgrounds, or just being more social. So when you're more social, being able to have fun, I think they're able to really open up. So yeah, Tenant Clubs Week, kind of said it earlier, will be the third through the ninth. Is it? Yeah. So the third through the ninth. So um, uh, we should be here next week. It's probably at 5 o'clock. Is better. You know
Yeah,
what I'm
that
saying?
works.
Yeah, 8 o'clock's good for me.
8 o'clock, 5 o'clock my time Pacific. 8 o'clock. Both of you on this same time zone, Eastern. Okay. Um, so wherever you are, 5 o'clock, 8 o'clock. So see you all next week. If you have any questions, just hit us up. Thank you for attending. If you have any questions, DM us. I am open for discounts at the moment until June the 14th. Gina actually has a seminar reading coming up, or a seminar.
I'm doing a Pluto webinar on the 15th. We're going to really dive into your Pluto card. And then I opened up for readings for the month of June, the weekly readings. I'm offering a discount, and you don't have to sign up or commit to the whole month. If you just wanted to do try it out and do just a week, hit me up, because I'm offering a discount on that as well, to just get a feel of what the weekly readings are and how they can help. So I'm offering a discount, doing them individually, and then a discount on the month if you wanted to do it as well. So, yep, just DM me or email me at guidedbythecards@gmail.com.
Nice, gonna do it. I'm gonna get that for myself for my birthday. Get some
Yay.
inner wisdom on my game.
Yeah, the weekly readings are phenomenal. Such a good tool to just have that guidance. I love my clients who've been doing it. I mean, I have people 2 years, and it's so beautiful. It really is cool. So I'm excited. Yep.
The weeklies are pretty dope. So I love even anyone that can look at weeklies, or if you have that concept down. Again, I think I kind of know how you can look at it or calculate your weekly at hand. So having a personal hand, to look at it all the time, that is the value of that. I don't know. That is a lot of time, a lot of dedication. So that is the Jacob Hearts being of service.
But I
Go ahead,
love doing
Bruce.
it. And I love people will message me or even you said da, 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 da. Thank you so much. It's like it brings me back to when I created the cream and hearing how much it helped them. That y'all feel like it does something to my soul. So it's what fuels me to keep doing it. Because it just knowing that something that I can do to help someone have guidance or make a better decision or just learn how to move, and it brings this just, I guess, peace and comfort. And when you understand oh, I'm displacing a 9 this week, so I know I need to something, I'm going to be graduating somewhere, and it just helps when you have that knowledge of what could be. And I cater it to your specific week, the day you were, how it all lines up to you is how you get your reading. So it's really tailored to your own individual energy. So yeah, get that King of
Yes.
Clubs month. So it's really good for that knowledge, helps.
Nice. Be hitting me up. Well, thanks everybody for coming and for listening, and thanks for continuing, guys. And I'll talk to you guys soon.
All right, y'all. Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Have a nice one.
Thank you.